Hey everybody, and welcome back to part 3 of our adventure building the Tribu app, which is an AI-powered social media app so that you can find out what your friends are up to and what people with the same interests are up to by just asking an AI to use vector similarity search to find similar things to what you're looking for, what you're interested in. So in the last 2 videos, we were setting up end-to-end workflows to be able to input the values from what people post into a vector store. And I also said last time that I need to absolutely figure out what how we can delete values. And I found that in N8N, for some reason, whatever it is, Qdrant doesn't have a delete function. So we actually have to do that through an HTTP request. So we'll work on that in another session. But yeah, the update would be going through the delete workflow and then afterwards going through a create new workflow. So this is just in case we want to delete posts that people, for example, if they change the wording of the post, we need to delete the old one and write a new one so we don't get confused, so that the AI doesn't get confused. So we got all that in place, and we will continue working on that when we get to the actual meat of the issue. But for the moment, we don't have anything in the front end yet. So what I would like to do is start working on the front end design, trying to get these random AI generated designs into something usable in Noodle. So talking about how we go about deciding on what we're going to do. So before I even touch Noodle, the first thing I need to think about is, are we going to use pages to do this, or are we going to use a component stack? So the choice of those two things often comes down to how much am I going to use URLs and how much am I just going to be switching in between components. Like for example, in this app, do I want to have users always land on the home page and then navigate to the search, to the post, to the notifications? Well, in that case, then a component stack could be useful, because component stacks are just going to swap out one visual component for another in the same page. In React terms, or certainly in Noodle terms, there's no speed advantage or performance advantage in terms of pages or components, because in the end, when you create a page or a visual component, it's React, so they're both basically components. There's not much extra happening in a page. It just has extra stuff available to you, like looking at page inputs, where we can get path parameters and query parameters. And that's kind of what I was getting at when I said, do you want them to always come to the home page, or do you want them to be sent to another page automatically? Say, for example, you might say, Richard just sent you a new message and you want to click on the link to view the message, and you want it to take them directly to the messages page of the app. That can be done with component stacks as well. And you can even set up component stacks to work with paths. But you might want to have something really more fixed in terms of the way the URL is structured, and with path parameters and query parameters working together to give the information needed from a shared post or something like that to be able to get into the right page of the app. So that's one of the biggest questions that comes up at the beginning of a Noodle project. And it's true that you can regret a little bit down the road having chosen one way or another. I feel like here the separation of concerns between these different views, like this is the feed where we just see who's up to what, and we can search around for most recent posts. We have the explore part where it's more looking into what's trending and trying to discover new things. And then the posting screen, and then probably a messaging screen as well somewhere, but I'm not going to make that right now. I might not even make a messaging system, I'm not sure. They feel like possibly there could be 3 separate pages in terms of just needing to send people. But then do I really need to send people to the explore page? Do I really need to send people to the post page? Not really. So maybe for this app, especially because it's going to be a mobile first, so we're going to be flicking in between with the bottom menu that's always going to be there. We're going to flick in between the different components, and maybe a component stack makes the most sense. Yeah, I think we'll go with component stack for now. It's also a good opportunity to see the component stack. I think it's a really good thing to learn as well. So let's get right into it and do the first page. We're going to start with the feed page in the bottom bar. So we are going to have like a top bar, but it's not a global top bar. It's going to be specific to, well, no, hold on. Like I said, it's not going to be, there's not going to be a global top bar. This is an app where you ask AI to help you to find things that you're interested in. So at any moment, you're going to want to be able to click that top bar to ask the AI to help you to find something. And in fact, clicking on these bottom bits should almost be a secondary activity, because the main activity is going to be talking to the AI about what you want to see. So let's make the top bar something more like this, where it's like a kind of global top bar that'll be visible on every page except for the post page. Even then, but we'll see. Let's start with the feed page anyway, and the maybe the feed page and the post page. That would be a good start, because this page is kind of version 1.1. We don't need to be exploring straight away. What we need is to test the functionality of loading the app, seeing posts that are relevant to us, and then making a new post so that other users might see that post as relevant to them in their feed. So we'll make the feed first and the start post, new post page first. So let's go with feed. We're going to put ourselves in a really strict mobile view, something like 360, just to be kind of in the middle. And we are going to start with what are we going to start with? A global header. So this is going to be our global header, and a global footer. We're going to call the global footer, keep it the same. And then in the middle, we're going to have our component stack in between the two. The global header is going to be at a fixed height of, let's put it at 80 pixels for now, just for fun. And the global footer is going to be at its own height of 80 pixels, just for fun. It's going to be at the bottom. I should maybe put the component stack into a group to let it have some padding, because the component stack doesn't have any visual aids there. So it means that I don't have to create padding inside every component. I can just add the padding globally in the parent group. So let's make it 20 and 20 just to see what it looks like for now. There we go. So you can see where the component stack is going to go. You can see where the header is going to be. You can see where the footer is going to be. So it looks not too bad for now. The top bar is going to have a search input. Now, I have a feeling that the input, I would like it to be a kind of composite thing, not just like a input like this, which is a bit boring, but a more composite idea. Let's give it a little bit of padding as well. And we're going to take off the label, because I don't like that label. I want to have it as, I'll show you what I mean by composite. What I mean is this is actually going to be the search bar. This is going to be an invisible input. And then we're going to have an icon next to it that's going to be like the little search icon, like this. And that's going to be, we'll keep it purple for now. We'll change the colors afterwards. Make it like 24, make this group horizontal, and make this input not fixed width. Yeah. There you go. Sometimes the width question in Noodle is really weird, that as it starts with the explicit width and height at 100%, it kind of takes up more space than it's allowed to, and it doesn't take into consideration other elements inside the parent group. And switching to another dimension and then back to this one again will actually solve it. And you could see that before it was overflowing to the right, and now it's not, because we switched back and forward. So it's just a little tip until that bug gets fixed, until people start giving money to OpenNoodl and the Low Code Foundation so we can actually pay to get these kind of things fixed, please. Anyway, let's not make this purple because that's dumb. Let's make it gray. Maybe even a little bit lighter. Okay, so now what we want to do is take away the borders from this guy and add the borders in this guy instead, in this gal or whatever here. And it's going to be 1, and it's going to be something nice and light. Even, well, I mean, are we going to do dark mode? No, we'll do light mode first. I know that the design was in dark, but I don't care. We'll figure out dark mode another time. Make it like 8 radius. No, maybe 6. It's a bit too much. 8. No, even more. Maybe 12. No, maybe even more. 20. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, and then we'll add some padding on the left. No, it's too much. Oops, that's way too much. And some padding on the right, just in case, so that we don't get that overflowing. And that should be enough. So now what we have is an input where it starts a little bit after the icon, and we could actually take less and even less, maybe. Yeah, on that side. And then, is that really, it's not really centered, that, is it? There we go. So that's now centered and looking good, and so we can type something here. Perfect. And we're going to give it a message like a placeholder to invite people to test it, like, what are you looking for today? There we go. That's good. Alrighty, let's go back to our design. So we've got our top bar, which we're now going to put into a component. So let's extract this to a component. We're going to call this global header. And we can now start working on the global footer. So let's have a look at our design. We're going to have home, we're going to have explore, we're going to have posts, and maybe notifications as well. Are we going to notify? Yeah, if people like stuff, I guess, or like comment on things, then you should be notified. So that's fine. So we'll do 4 for now. Home, explore, post, and notifications. So what I would do here is I would create a columns. Would I make columns? No. Maybe? Yes. No. No, forget it. I was going to make columns and a repeater, but actually that's overkill. Let's just make 1 for now. And then we're going to make it into a component and duplicate it 4 times, which might seem like unnecessary, but when you can have a repeater, but I just don't feel like making a repeater is necessary in this case. So we're going to give it an icon, and we're going to give it a text. Oops, text is below the icon. The icon is going to be whatever. Let's just do home. We'll do like the home one as the base, and then afterwards we'll add all the other stuff. So the text is going to be, we have to do this again, and then add that in as the home button. We're going to center the text. We're going to get the icon in the middle. We're going to make it purple or whatever. 24. How big is it on the design? Yeah, a bit bigger. 32. Yeah. And we are going to make this group only, well, we'll make it 100. No, we're not going to make it 100%. We're going to make it 20. No, not 25. That's stupid. We're going to make it 100% with a max width. So the max width is going to be 100 pixels. How big is that? Not bad. And then the elements in here are all going to be centered. And this is going to be called menu item. Like, no, maybe bottom menu item. And that's good. That's good. A bit of spacing, maybe a little tiny bit of spacing. No, a bit less. Yeah, fine. Okay. And then, yeah, okay, cool. And then what? And then what? What was I thinking? Come on, brain, you can do it. We're going to make this into a component. Oh, and that was the other thing I was thinking, was we're going to add cursor pointer. So that means that when someone hovers over it, it turns into a hand. So you can add that just in the CSS options at the bottom, CSS style, just add a custom style in there. You can do it for lots of different styles, but this is a really useful one that I use all the time. You could also make a CSS class. So let's make this into a class. I'm going to call this clickable group. And then we can put a CSS definition at this level and say clickable group. Oh crap, it's CSS. Is it that? No, is it? Yes. Okay. Crap myself. Yeah, it works. Whew. Yeah, so just make a CSS definition at the app level so it's applicable to the whole app. And then that will do what we wanted it to do. That'll apply that to everything that we call clickable group, so I don't have to go into every single one of them and change it. Great. Okay, so we're going to make that into a component. We are going to call that footer menu item. It should have been actually. And then in here, we're going to want to set component inputs because we're going to want to change the text on the icon every time. So label and icon. And then we're going to connect up label to the home text. So home will be like the default that we see when we place the component, and we're going to connect icon to icon source. And then we're going to have outputs to this as well. We need to have a clicked output. We also need to have states, because when you hover this sucker, it's going to turn into something a little bit different looking. So we're going to say neutral and hovered. So and why this? Because we want that anywhere you hover on this, it's going to change the icon and the text color. So it's not just about saying what the icon should be when it's hovered or what the text should be when it's hovered. It's about saying what everything is going to be, all the, maybe the background, the icon color, everything. So we're going to say this is color with a transition. Just default transition is fine. Neutral value is going to be purple, whatever the primary color is. And the hovered value is going to be primary subtle. So then we connect that up, color to color, color to font color. And then when the group is hovered, then it goes to hovered. When the hover finishes, then it goes back to neutral. Nice. So it might not be important if we're using it on the mobile, but you know, it's just a nice thing to see. And yeah, we said that there's going to be a clicked output, and I forgot about it. So group click goes to clicked. And so now we have a fully functioning clickable icon that will, you know, if we want to navigate somewhere. What we're going to do probably is actually push a component to the stack. So that will, when clicked, push the component to the stack. So then we can click, 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 and that does something. So that's cool. Great. And now we're going to add 4 of these. Yeah, it might be a little bit messy, but you know, whether, you know, 4 components rather than having a group plus a column plus a repeater is there really much of a difference? And having to like style, you know, put the items in the repeater and everything, I can't be bothered, to be honest. So we're going to do it as a horizontal group, and then we're going to call this home. We're going to call this search. No, what was it? Discover? No, where is it? Yeah, explore. So discover, I'm going to call it. And it's going to have a search icon. Maybe like a cool one. Is there a cool one? Cool one like this, maybe? I don't know. No, it's a bit weird. That one? I don't know. Doesn't matter. This one is going to be posts, new post. Or just call it posts. And what was it in the thing? It was a plus add. So it's the square add. Where the hell is that? Am I going blind? Oh, whatever. Doesn't matter. And I know it's ugly as hell, but we'll get to that later. We're just doing a prototype, remember. And then the last one is going to be notifications. Which is probably too long. Yes, it is notifications. And that's going to be an alarm, no, a bell, no, a notification, there it is. So if we make the text smaller, that'll help. There we go. Even smaller than that. Yeah, it's nice. Already looking better, isn't it? And if we hover them, excellent. And that's going to push 4 different components to the stack. But where are my components? So let's make a feed component. I'm going to add a visual component called feed. We are going to make that have a title just so we can at least see it. So let's put a text up here and put feed as the text. I'm going to make that the title medium, why not? And then we're going to go to our component stack and we're going to define the components that are going to be available to the stack. So the first component is going to be feed, the second component is going to be discover, the third component is going to be post, and the fourth component is going to be notifications. For the feed, we're going to select our feed component, and then for the other components we'll do the same. So it means that right now if I click on home, I can have it push in my, let's say, yeah, we'll leave it as being called main, that's fine. You can call it something else if you have multiple stacks. We can use roots, like I said, if you want to. It means that you actually have like the URL path. So we can do that. That could be nice, actually. Start page is going to be feed. Clip content, I've never really understood what that does. I think it clips anything that goes outside of the bounds of the component stack, but whatever. I don't know how it works, so don't ask me. And what we're going to do is have the main stack push, not push, replace, because push adds something on top of the stack. The component stack is actually supposed to be like layering things on top of each other and then removing them. But what we're going to do is just replace whatever the current item is in the stack with the new one. It's cool to do push because you can do direction, like you can swipe in, swipe out. You can, have crossfades and stuff, so you can really like edit the timing and everything. So you can really get quite deep on how it changes from one component to another. But I'm not going to bother right now because I'm being lazy and I just want to get it done so we can see what it does. So when I click home, it's going to push that component to the stack. And there it is. So when I refresh, it'll actually already have that component because it's the default component of the stack. And you can see that we actually have a path now, which is feed, but it's not a real root. It's not like defined in the DOM. It's just kind of added it in there. And the component stack recognizes that as a path that is supposed to go to one of its components. So maybe it's important just to be sure that you're not doubling up any of these with other pages that you've already created, for example. So that's our component stack in, and we want to have show me the feed, show me updates from friends, show me search results. Yeah, we can have that. A couple of buttons at the top. Oh yeah, of course that wouldn't be in here though, would it? Feed. And a group, of course. So top buttons, and this is show me updates from friends. That's a quite nice way that the AI put it, actually. From friends. And the next one is going to be show me certain. No, I want to say show me. Oh, I just quit Noodle. Fabulous. That was a genius thing to do. That's just how I roll. I just like to give myself challenges, Luckily Noodle is constantly saving everything, or else I would be crying right now. So we wanted to say show me interesting posts. So we either get what our friends are up to, or we get interesting posts. Now the buttons do not look good, so we're going to change all of this, and then we're going to create a style variant out of that. So we're going to have maybe we'll follow the style from that. Yeah. So we're going to have a rounded button with the text kind of bold in the middle, which it already is. So let's round that off a bit better. 20, just like the top bit. top bar, the input bar was about 20 pixels corner radius, so I can do the same here. And when it's hovered, it's going to be primary subtle, same as what we have here at the bottom. And so that makes it like that. Yeah, it would be nice to have a transition actually though, but oh yeah, we do have transitions. All properties. Enable. Yeah, there. Nice. So yeah, that was in, I haven't tried that before actually. So that was in neutral state transitions, and I said all properties disable and then enable, and that kicked it into action and made it have a standard transition. So it's nice to have a little transition on the button. Although it doesn't transition away from the hover state. Yeah, okay. Still doesn't. Oh, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, so if we're happy enough with that, we can maybe add a bit more padding. And in the neutral state the same. And then we're going to save that as a style variant, and we're going to call it standard button. So it means then I can just go to the next button and go standard button, and it becomes a standard button. Easy peasy. Okay, so now we're going to center those buttons. Maybe manually center them, just in case. We don't want to center the whole group. Oh no, because it's the top button group, so we can. So we'll just use that top button group, which should be content height, and center everything that's inside it. And make it have a spacing between the buttons, and make it have some spacing at the top as well and at the bottom. Okay, starting to look like something. Maybe it would be nice actually if the buttons had a minimum width. Yeah, so let's edit the variant. We'll go down to minimum width, and we're going to set the minimum width to 200 pixels. Is that too much? Not enough. Not enough. Yeah, that's nice. So at least then they should all be running about the same size. I mean, we could also just set them at, give them a fixed width of 300 pixels if we wanted to, just so that all the buttons are that size, and whether they're shorter or longer, they're all going to be the same size. Might look a bit weird if it's something short. Yeah, no, it's fine actually. Cool. Okay, so that's that. And then to finish off for today, let's try to make a post so that we'll be able to see posts. So we're going to add we're in feed, so we're going to add a group that's going to be the posts group. We're going to add a repeater. We don't need it in columns, I don't think. We don't have a template yet, so we need to add one. So this is going to be called a post item. The post item is going to have the avatar, name, handle, text, and then some icons. So we need to have a top bar, a middle bar, and a bottom bar. We're going to call this, top bar, middle bar, and bottom bar. We're going to have a group with an image, because it'll help us constrain the image. I'm going to say the group has a fixed width of, it looks like about 40 pixels to me. The image is going to be the avatar image of the user. We'll get that in a minute. And that'll be coming from their profile record, which we have set up in Pocketbase, remember? So we're going to get their profile and extract the data from that. We're going to get the post and extract the data from that. We'll do that later. So the top bar has to be horizontal because it's going to have a text. And are we going to do a text plus text? No, because what that'll do, which will be a bit dumb, will be if the handle is too long, then it's going to like bump it down to the next line. Well, maybe that's actually okay. Maybe we do want that. Yeah, no, let's have text plus text. So we're going to have a text that's the name, and handle. And that'll come in from that data. Yes, okay. And then we'll do some dummy data here just for fun. So let's do Ricky, and let's do Ricky 2 shoes. And the image is going to be, do we have any images? No, we don't. So let's go get a test image. We're going to go open the project folder. We're going to add an assets folder, because why not? And we're going to add an images folder. Nope. And then in that images folder, we're going to have just some random avatar. And just give me a sec. There she blows. Okay, so now we have that in our assets/images. So that's good. And we needed to have the middle bar have the text of the post. So this is what I think about that. And then the bottom bar is like, comment, share, I guess. Do we want people to share stuff? No, you don't need to share stuff. You can comment and like, I think, but you don't need to share things because the AI will show you what you're interested in, not your friends necessarily. No, because yeah, if a friend shares something, then the AI will pick it up because we could copy the post into the friend's feed, and then the AI would pick that up as something your friend said. So if they take something from somebody who's not your friend and post it in their feed, then the AI can pick that up and say, oh, here's what your friends are up to. They've, reposted something, so they must have liked that. And, then the AI can explain to you what they reposted. So that's cool. So let's do that. We're going to have icons with numbers. So we need a new group concept there, which is going to be with an icon and a text. It's going to be a horizontal group. The icon is going to be 16 is fine. Let's set the first one as the heart. Like love. No, what the hell is it? Favorite. There we go. And it's going to be purple. And the text is going to be the number of people who liked it. So let's say 13, just for fun. And we're going to make that purple as well. Probably make it, yeah, that's fine. Okay, we should probably start looking at this so we can actually see what it looks like instead of me just imagining it in my head like a crazy person. So let's go into the feed component. Let's go to the repeater. Let's give the repeater the template of post item, and let's add a random item. So we're going to put our square brackets, accolades, and value. Let's say foo is bar. That'll just create one thing in the repeater at least. Oh my god. So now we have one thing in that repeater, which is in this group here. So we need to make that. Okay, yeah, so it's content height. And then this is just a mess. What the heck? What is it supposed to? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I changed it from image width and height, which is basically content width and height. So like original width and height, to fitting into and being contained inside the group so that we see the whole image for sure. So that looks good already. The text needs to be centered. Everything needs to be centered in this top bar. Or does it? Yes, it does. So we got Ricky 2 shoes. So we can make that content width. No, that's a bad idea. Yeah, and we can reduce the minimum width maybe. Hang on a sec. Yeah, so we'll make this content width, make this content width, text width and explicit height. Leave it like that for now, and maybe we can make it width a little bit shorter. I'll have a think about how we can do that to make these stick together. I'll have a think about it. Anyway, that's good for now. We're going to add a little bit of spacing here because this group is a bit too tight for me. That's a bit too much. And that's looking good. And then this group at the bottom is looking okay, except this should be centered. This should be, oh, actually we'll just center everything. We'll just center everything. There. And this has to be content width and height, text width and height. This has to be content width and height. And then we'll add a little bit of padding around it to make it just have a bit of space. That looks good. And then we're going to create a component out of that and call that our post icon. And this is going to be like, which we need to have an input where we have the icon and the number. We'll think about that later, how we do that. Yeah, think about that later. No, you know what? We'll not think about it later. We'll do it right now. So the icon is going to be the icon source. And the count is going to be the count text. So it means when we place these, we can actually feed the current count in. Maybe we'll get some of the post data and feed that in to each of the icons, depending on what the data is that's coming out of that. So we want that to be, what was it, like, comment, and share. So this should be comment. We should have a comment there. And this should be share or reshare. No. Okay. Tell me your secrets, Google. Oh, there's no reshare icon. I thought there would have been like recycle. Nope. Nope. Well, whatever. So we'll do one of these. I'm a bit disappointed. I think we'll just have to, we'll do this one for now, it's fine. Could be share outside or share internally, whatever, it doesn't matter. This obviously needs to be horizontal and needs to have a little bit of spacing. And that's already looking like something. It's looking like something. It's not exactly this yet, but yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, looking good, eh? So that'll do for now. We've done the feed part. Next time maybe I'll do the post part, and then we'll start really working on n8n and seeing how n8n can ingest this information into the vector store and then start retrieving things so that when we load this page, it auto loads like whatever the most interesting posts are from the most recent results from the vector store. So I think that's good for now. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you come back for the next one to see the next part of the project. Take care.